Hi everyone, I am live today. I was inspired I've been wanting to do this video for several days now. If you're on the newsletter, I recently sent out an email just asking people how they were doing, because I hadn't realized I hadn't written in quite some time. And I got a very cool, interesting response from a lady named Marla, who wanted to know, amongst one of the things she wanted to know was, how was it that Bernando, never had a cold, was never sick a day in his life? So I responded, and I want to go over that response again today. And I also want to draw your attention, if you hadn't noticed, in the community section of this YouTube channel, a couple of days ago, I posted some photographs of a bottle of Dr. Schultz's Echinacea Plus, and also a beautiful photo of a field full of purple, pinkish echinacea flowers. Dr. Schultz sent out a newsletter the other day, and so I wanted to read you an excerpt from it. And the motivation for doing this again is Marla's question, also because I learned something, and also because, if you didn't know it, Bernando used Echinacea Plus, Dr. Schultz's Echinacea Plus, in his superfood smoothie that he made every day. Overall, I could call the overall title of this live video is Why Bernando Never Caught a Cold, why he was never sick a day in his life. So, of course, this is what worked for him. And, as Grandpa would say, take the best and leave the rest. Now, before I get into the echinacea part of this, I just wanted to tell you some anecdotes that I shared in the newsletter with Marla and with others who are on the newsletter. And that is that my great-grandfather, Bernando's father, who, as you know, was a medical doctor and also a root doctor at the turn of the century, advised Bernando that when he was taking the subway lines were built very early on here in New York City. In the 1900s, people began to take the subway that started to replace horse and buggy. But he said, when you get on the subway, I want you to wear gloves. I don't want you touching the handrails, and I don't want you touching, the poles with your bare hands. Why? Because what will happen is that all those hands, not everyone has got the same hygiene, all the germs and all the bacteria. If you then touch your nose, touch your eyes, or touch your mouth, that is how you can pick up disease and spread infectious diseases to yourself, the cold or the flu. So again, little Bernando, always wore gloves as a young boy, when he was riding the subway. So that's very, very interesting, especially in light of what we've been through recently. So I suppose wearing a mask is okay, but it seems like wearing gloves, and I'm sure they were fashionable gloves, is better. Or maybe they were cotton gloves. So that's the first thing. So he was not picking up diseases in that way in public spaces and then infecting himself. The second thing that Bernando's father had him do was that he gave him his own silver folding cup. I'm not suggesting that you necessarily that it has to be silver. Of course, Bernando, Grandpa always used to say, "Oh, I was a doctor's son." So he lived a very good, a very well-to-do life, and everything was about, that quality. And, plastic was not something that was even prevalent or even really invented at that time. So my point is that he would carry his own drinking cup because his father said, "I do not want you putting your mouth to public fountains." Because, all these mouths and you don't know who has what is drinking from those fountains. And that's another way in which you can pick up germs, bacteria, disease from other people unwittingly. So, of course, nowadays people are very good about bringing their own water bottles. In general, you see people bringing their own water bottles. But if you don't have a water bottle, if you can, get one. Or again, get yourself some kind of little folding cup or use a paper cup instead of putting your mouth on the drinking fountain. So that was the other way that Bernando avoided getting colds and getting flus. Now, the other thing, and I have this memory distinctly because I took a photo of it. My grandfather used to make fun of me and he used to say, "Why are you always taking photos of everything? You're crazy." And I'm like, "That's okay. You can call me crazy if you want to." Of course, later on, now we appreciate, right, because we've got these different records of him. But I remember being at his apartment at 72-10 41st Avenue in Jackson Heights, Queens, New York. And he was making himself, it was the morning, he was making himself a superfood smoothie, the recipe that he came up with. He would only exclusively use American Botanical Pharmacy's superfood, period. He would not use anything else. He always stuck with that. That's because he felt that Dr. Schultz was like his own father, meaning in terms of quality and in terms of purity. So as you know, all of Dr. Schultz's products are not sprayed with pesticides. He obtains things also through wild crafting. So they're either 100% organic, 100% wild crafted. I would say that 99% of the herbs that you may buy in the health food store, the supermarket, what have you, is sprayed with pesticides. Of course, this is antithetical because roots and herbs and plants, stems, if you know how to use them, this is the original medicine. It is pure. It is what God put on the earth to heal us. So why on earth would you spray it with pesticides? Doesn't make any sense, but you should be aware of that. That's why I'm always harping about Dr. Schultz's American Botanical Pharmacy's products. If you have used them, then you know the potency of them because he doesn't skimp. He doesn't only use 10% in a formula or 20% in a formula. His formulas are 100%. That means that he fills the vats up all the way to the top, not once, not twice, not three times. I believe 4 times. Could be 3, but I'm pretty sure it's 4 times. So all of that leads to a very, very concentrated dosage, that you need to have things be effective. A lot of the ways in which people make profits is that they take something that's pure and they water it down so much, that you end up using 4, 5, 6 times the product over and over again, just trying to get the efficacy that you need if they had just left well enough alone. So I wanted to point that out. But getting back to being in my grandfather's kitchen in the late 70s or 80s, he was making the superfood smoothie. And so I took a photo of it. He used to have these like drinking cups. And so in the drinking cup, of course, he's got his orange juice. If he didn't have fresh orange juice, his favorite back in the day, he would use Tropicana orange juice with the pulp because pulp is good for you too. And then he would put his garlic paste in that. He'd put in a good dollop of garlic paste in there. And then he would mix it with, I believe you need to put at least a heaping teaspoon of Dr. Schultz's Superfood Plus in there. And he would also use this Echinacea Plus, and he drank that every single day, beginning in 1979 when he was 78 years of age, all the way until the day he died at 114 years old. So this gave him extra nutrition. He always used to say that superfood has everything a body needs. It's soy-free, it's vegan, and like I said, no pesticides, wild crafted, and it has B vitamins and so many different things that you need. I'll provide a link here in the description of the video after I'm done. But I wanted to read you again this information about Dr. Schultz's Echinacea Plus, and I'm reading verbatim from the newsletter that I received from Dr. Schultz on October 24th. So these are Dr. Schultz's words. Dr. Schultz's Echinacea Plus, the most powerful and effective echinacea blend available. Echinacea is an American herb native only to the United States, meaning it has never been found growing anywhere else in the world. So if you like made in the USA, this herb is for you. If you have that uh-oh feeling, before you start looking to Chinese herbs, shark fins, caterpillar fungus, and deer antlers from the other side of the planet, or homeopathic oscillococcinum, duck heart and liver spirit juice, or worse, ineffective flu shots or even antibiotics that are useless against influenza, let's investigate something natural that God planted right in our backyards. Echinacea looks like a 1 to 2 foot miniature purple sunflower. It grows in Texas and Kansas and is native to the East, Midwest, and Central Plains of North America. Long before white men arrived on this continent, Native Americans used it for centuries as a cure-all to treat all kinds of infections. Over the years in my clinic, I discovered that a blend of 2 different species and different parts of these 2 species were the most effective for my patients. This is the first Echinacea angustifolia root, which is the species used by Native Americans. The second is the Echinacea purpurea seed, the part of the plant with the highest active healing phytochemicals. Then he goes on to say how Echinacea Plus works. Echinacea Plus works in 2 main ways. First, Echinacea has been scientifically proven to measurably increase the number of immune cells in your body. Second, Echinacea Plus stimulates these immune cells into heightened activity levels. Echinacea also significantly increases phagocytosis, your white blood cells' ability to destroy harmful microorganisms. Echinacea's effectiveness is clearly documented in respected medical textbooks such as the Merck Index and the Physician's Desk Reference. So there you go. As usual, my grandfather always knew something that I didn't know about, which is why I'm so grateful to have learned so much from him. So if you're feeling like you're kind of getting the cold and the sniffles, the weather has been very strange. It's hot one day, then it's kind of cold and rainy the next day. It's really up and down. When you hear that something's been going around, why not give this a try if you're not using it already, and add it to the superfood smoothie that you've already been making, wink wink, that Bernando came up with a delicious recipe, which happens to be in the book Beyond 100, How to Live Well into Your Second Century. But I'll recap it again here. So Grandpa would take 16 ounces of orange juice, fresh is best. Then you can squeeze it on your own if you're lucky enough to live in a place like, Arizona or California or Florida. You pretty much have access to fresh citrus all year long. If not, you could use something like Tropicana. Also now, if you go to the big supermarkets, they've realized that people want fresh orange juice, so they have those squeezers that you can get right there. Then you want to add a good heaping tablespoon of the Superfood Plus. Then you want to add the garlic paste. There's a recipe for that on this channel. I will try and put that in the show notes. It's also in the book as well, Beyond 100, How to Do the Garlic Paste. And then, of course, Bernando would take a generous amount of blueberries and mix that all together with a banana, right, to take away that garlic taste and to give it a sweetness, and blend that, and he would drink that every day. So you've got the Echinacea Plus, you've got the Superfood Plus, you've got the fresh orange juice, you've got the blueberries, you've got the garlic paste, right? And there you have it. So you can try that. It's very refreshing. It's very energizing. I do know someone who is not particularly fond of orange juice. They actually happen to use apple juice. So if you want to use apple juice instead, go ahead. And some of you are really hardcore and you'll just do it with water. That's not for me. I need the smoothie. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Now let me see who's here. Hey, Natalie. Thank you so much for continuing to share Bernando's teachings, priceless info. It's so good to see you here today. Thank you so much for popping up on your kind comment, girl. Thank you for you doing what you're doing. And it is my absolute pleasure and honor and privilege to be able to share what Bernando, what he lived and what he talked about. So there you go. I'm not going to make this super long. I just wanted to share that with you. And I'm going to put a description in the show notes. I'm going to try and find that garlic paste recipe on this channel. I'll also put a link to Bernando's books, and I'll also put a link to American Botanical Pharmacy link in case you want to purchase anything. There happens to be free shipping for any orders over $75 apparently until Tuesday tomorrow, which is Halloween. And if you've never ordered anything, you can put in code AFLNEW after you make an account at checkout, and you'll get, I think you get like 10% off. So following in my grandfather's footsteps, I'm also trying to distribute superfood, and I'm an affiliate for that. I am saving up for, hey Greg, nice to see you. I am going to take a trip up to Harlem, I swear. It's happening. It's going to happen. It's a little cray-cray here in the fall, but I'm going to make it up there. That is my plan before the end of the year. Going to go to the Schomburg, so maybe I'll see you up there. What was I trying to say? Yes, so I'm an affiliate, and there you have it. Okay, well, y'all have a great rest of your day, and wishing you a happy holiday, happy Halloween. Bye, Greg. Bye, Natalie. And anyone else who's watching this later. Peace out.